But it's going to be a real jump to that bottom, and it's in control of the flag, man. And we are green. Already a few movements out there around the back, and a few black flags given out as well on the start of front row. Getting away quite cleanly. Julian Altena diving to the inside. That top line has not had the pace out of the gate.
Yeah, but now we might expect that top line to get some run out of those corners down the straight. And just you see, I believe it's Liam O'Sullivan on the outside. He might just be able to get past Julian Altena here, but Altena able to stick it in. They're still fighting side by side. They're too wide, multiple rows back here.
They went backwards 4 wide between these 3 drivers. That's Senna, Buckhoven and Eston Santos running 4 down these straights. Matthias Strauss running away with it right now, but it's a tangle 2 rows back. Altena, Sullivan, Pressy and Kyle Gresh. There were practice races earlier on in the week for this setup, but it is a bit of an unknown element. Lower downforce. You're going to see a few slides out the car, some people that weren't prepared. Possibly 3 wide here, looking on board with Dan Etch. That's Jaco Seegers on the bottom line. Seems to have the run coming out, and the bottom is fast, but the top isn't. Completely unviable. That's a slide out from Jaco Seegers, and that's our first caution. Caught live on camera. The low downforce has bitten for the first time this race. Remember this league, we start on green in single file. You can pass wherever you want, and not quite single file. Few rows back, and that's going to cause a mass confusion. That's Timothy Bray spinning down to the bottom of the track. A little bit of damage caused to some further back too, but the rest keep running. Altena, Pressy, Sullivan and Fiolas make up your top 5, and we're side by side already. Looks like Altena's going to want to make this move for the lead. 2 wide for 2 rows, and Altena has the confidence this time to push it all the way up to the top of the track. Matthias Strauss, he stays in it though. Here comes Strauss, run down the back straight, and that back straight is leading some great slipstream runs. We're going to be seeing more of those as the race develops. Further back, it's Andreas Vince and Kyle Gresh. First one that stopped. I doubt there's that much of a tire delta in these cars, but it's probably a long-term fuel gain.
It's another rookie-on-rookie fight for the podium here. Fiolas sends it in, not able to get clear before they exit the corner, and now out of turn 4, down the front stretch. They're still going to be side by side.
Will F-Tick be able to get the nose in place? Moves up the road to sort of preemptively block, and that's not really going to work. Liam O'Sullivan is fast. He's on the bottom. He's able to clear out. That's actually Senna Buckhoven. He's able to clear out 2 drivers. These things move so fast in my view, let me tell you that. Liam O'Sullivan actually gets left out to dry in it all.
Temperature. Oh, and Katie Polak's around.
That is the broadcaster's commentator's curse indeed. Katie Polak slides, loses grip. Not the first driver to do it off the track, but because we're in the grass, we stay green.
Julian Altena is 3 laps down. He disappeared off the face of the planet.
That is a potential network issue that's just dropped. Altena completely out of the top pack. No wonder we all missed it. And everybody gets graduated +1 as a result of that. Here's some intense racing for this battle for 5th and 6th. That's Senna in the 74 stuck behind Santos, who cut up right in the way. Bryce Saucier almost sticks his nose into the bottom. He does. He gets the space. These positions are trading non-stop. Lining up for their first pit stops, it's Matthias Strauss entering the pit lane now. He's going to be our first green flag stopper of the race. Carl Clenworth in the pits now. Bryce Saucier probably only has 1 or 2 more laps in the tank. I bet we'll be seeing him make the move. That car is... You might not be able to hear it, Lucas, but that car, I think, is out of fuel now. He's so far off pit road speed limit. He's getting passed by... That's Kyle Gresh. Just as I look at that, Brian Fiolas makes the move for the lead. Let's try and catch the replay of that one before it gets lost. Bad corner exit here from Matthias Strauss. Runs it up high. That's sort of what cost Altena a lot of time earlier in the race as well. And that makes it a fairly easy run. He's already 3 temps down the road. We're still keeping this very, very green. On board with Shane Kocher. And up on the inside, that's Timothy Bray.
As that's a huge run he gets and gets that slide job done. Yeah, and we talk about these green flags. We still have 20 racers left in this race. I remember 2 weeks ago and even the race before that, I think we lost just about half of the field in each of those races. So the fact that we still have 20 out of the 24 cars remaining shows that these drivers know they've really locked in, they've cleaned it up. And as I say that, we get a caution because I jinxed it, of course.
It might have just been a self-slow, a self-spin. I don't think that's contact. He's sideways. That throws the yellow. He's able to collect the car again. Drivers, however, who were later in the run are going to have better jumps out of the pits, and Brian Violas proves it with the first out of line with Liam O'Sullivan jumping Strauss into P2. Violas does have an end-of-line penalty. Several end-of-lines. Andreas Vince, Roden F-Tink. Multiple drivers sent all the way to the back, and we go green on the restart. You can see Violas in the background already trying to make up every position left in the book. Good run away from Liam O'Sullivan. Solowez now running up in P3. Now he's up high. Pressy on his line too. Few cars in the wall, and there's a front wing gone. I think that is... I think that might be...
The white car.
Santos's.
On the...
And
yes.
Santos's car is still
understeers.
damaged. He's still damaged, getting in the way of others on the track. They're trying to make avoiding action. And it's a meatball for Matthias Strauss. Matthias Strauss just took suspension damage in that, and he has taken required repairs, and he's been sent to the back and out of this race. Solowez leading the way, and there's a big leader's advantage on the track, but Pressy wants it more, all the way to the bottom and through. Dropping back like a rocket, Solowez, because I think O'Sullivan's going to take it too. Too wide, it's Kosho and Gresh for 5th and 6th.
I think Solowaj is saving. I think Solowaj wants to get to this end of the race, only making one more pit stop.
Dive to the bottom for Kyle Clenworth. Nicholas Pressy up high. There's the pace, there's the run, and there's going to be the exit. The question is whether Solowaj is going to get the next place. Too wide for 2 rows. The strategy sort of changes from early run to mid-run to late run, and we're approaching late run. Kyle Clenworth now happy to run real high, and I have the feeling he was happy just taking the upper lane, or maybe just resigned to it after a poor entry. He slots in to P2 behind. Violas now thinks that this pack isn't worth it, and he's going to try something very, very different. This is an early stop in the stint. 41 in. Some of these drivers are going to go a whole lot longer.
Yeah, and looking at the times, Brian Violas is almost consistently about a 10th or 2 tenths quicker. But yeah, Clenworth, who I thought was playing more conservative, has to make the pit stop now. I believe that was O'Sullivan that came down with him.
Bit of a race into pit road here. You can obviously battle until the entry, and actually O'Sullivan's going to beat him out in the entering. Bit of a lock-up too. This is going to begin the train of drivers making their stops in. So it's Clenworth and O'Sullivan in first. Solowez next. Gresh, you thought would have got in line, doesn't quite. Timothy Bray. Now Kyle Gresh leads the race for another lap. Nicholas Pressy and Shane Kosher lines up in P3. Here's Gresh out here on the track. He's behind Violas. It's just the pit exit on this track is very, very long. So Shane Kosher in the pit lane, DeFrenzy in the pit lane, DeSerra in the pit lane. O'Sullivan is race leader over Violas, Saucier, Solowez, Gresh, and my biggest surprise of the cycle, Clenworth has dropped significantly. You can see in the background, that's Sebastian DeFrenzy, and to reset the pack right after the stops, that is going to be a frustration for many. It doesn't sound too enthusiastic. He was not really jamming that much power in it. Let me tell you that. That surprises me very much. What does this do for the pack? Well, you mentioned Gary at Lovin. Look who has taken our race lead. Gary at Lovin in the pit lane when the caution comes out has one of the quickest pit stops of everybody. Just want to show you what happened to Matthias Strauss earlier on in the race. Took one bad clip, took one little bit of damage too hard. Oh, drive behind into the wall. He cuts down in front of the 20, and that suspension damage to the rear that takes him out of the race. We're green again. Gary Lovin leads the way, but he's slow off the launch. Liam O'Sullivan takes to the bottom, and Solowaj might even just beat him out down the run. It's a top 5, almost 3 wide into the middle. Not quite succeeded. Lovin glued to that top. He's not dropped back that much further. It's a scramble. It's going to become more and more of a sprint race as we approach the end. It's only going to be one stop to the finish, and Gary Lovin, bit of a comeback story, got very lucky with the strategy, but in order to stay in this Shark Tank, you have to be fast and you have to be competitive. Long-time racer of the series, he's proven himself up there. Kyle Gresh glued to his rear wing. Gary Lovin and Solowise, two drivers that were banned from qualifying for this race for causing incidents of a damaged car last week, and they have both absolutely come into their own to get revenge out here today. Beautiful side-by-side racing further back. That's Klendworth on the bottom of 3, who've kept it a whole lap around the track 3 wide. Violas hasn't moved terribly much, sitting in the wake of all of this action.
I believe that Solowise looking on Lover, and that was very, very antsy. A little bit of car contact made. You saw both their cars getting very squirrely.
Kyle Klendworth, fast as ever, has been slowly creeping up throughout into the background like Jaws. You can almost hear the theme in your head. Liam O'Sullivan is our taker into the pit lane. 32 to go. That means the rest of the drivers are trying to go along. We're yellow on the track. I'm afraid it's a big one midway through the field. Car contact there. One stuck in the middle. 4 cars caught. Klendworth chooses the bottom. It's single file, but when you go on the green, and that top 3 have made their run away with it already. Timothy Bryan, Bryce Saucier, nowhere near the run. Kyle Klendworth chooses the bottom. Solowise tries to choose lower. Isn't able to make it in alongside on corner entry. Every little bit of track is being tested for grip. And Solowise constantly just seems to be threatening to Kyle Klendworth. If you stick to that yellow line like glue, I will send it under you and I will make that space my own. As he moves up the track, it's contact with Kyle Gresh. That's going to send him back, possibly damage to the 6th car. Klendworth's going to enjoy the run, but Gary Lovin, now your P2 contender, and Leon O'Sullivan, he's back in this race. Gary Lovin was quite the anonymous figure until 60 to go. He's a long-time veteran in this series, and he's trying to prove right now that he still has a legacy in him, independent driver, but just as strong as the rest, and that's not going to be it for him. There's contact on the rear wing, and Gary Lovin, he's out of the race, and we're yellow again. This was close and tight and tough. O'Sullivan to the inside, and that's what's going to push out Lovin and is going to make him unstable. And Klendworth leading that field, controlling that pace, currently getting away. But last time we had a good run, the drivers caught up quick in the toe. 9 laps to go for Klendworth to claim 2 on the season. O'Sullivan makes blocks and moves on Saucier, who tries to get up and around the outside. Timothy Bry's going to take the window in to the bottom. And these drivers might just be slowing each other up a little bit by bit. O'Sullivan knows he's running out of time lap by lap by lap. And if there's one thing that Kyle Klendworth is not going to do in P1, it's going to be cooperate. He misses the bottom, though, into turn 1, and O'Sullivan washes up and takes that front wing. That's repaired in time, but that contact can't be good for Klendworth's car. It's slowed him down. It's almost a bit of a bump and run on the track. Not the first time we've seen one of those at Nashville. I don't think Klendworth's car is turning right now into these turns.
He's once again looking for this lead. So even though he's driving a little bit angry, he's doing it to pretty good effect.
Kyle Klendworth will not let that damage stop him, and he certainly won't let his car finish the race like that, because a hard contact right as I was making that call. Almost 3 wide. Klendworth moves down the track a little into that 07, and both are wiped across the apron. In fact, another car's collected entirely on the way. Bryce Saucier and Klendworth out of the race. That's 18x for Liam O'Sullivan. So he'll be crossing the line first under caution. But I don't think Liam O'Sullivan's going to get to take home this win whatsoever. A black flag for incident points means that it is going to be Timothy Bry who takes the P1 on the line when the penalties get processed. We'll not be extending this race at Nashville. We'll finish under yellow. And a driver who hasn't led a single lap on the day has just stayed out of the incidents to take it to the line. Timothy Bray will be the driver to take the checkered flag.
And of course, Liam O'Sullivan won't be able to serve that drive-through penalty. He will be given a post-race EOL by iRacing automatically, putting him all the way back into 10th place behind Kyle Clenworth. So you're right, Timothy Bray will be your race winner here tonight.
Talk about storylines today on the track. From brilliant strategy to brilliant racing to drama that is going to keep any head steward up for weeks. That is a story to make VOR history. What a story. What a day. Timothy Bray wins in Nashville due to a penalty, taking Liam O'Sullivan down to P10 on the line. In P2 is Pim van Gastel, and of Andres Vince, Sebastian De Frenze, Anthony Heitzma in P5 ahead of Koscheck, Soloway's Kyle Gresh, Brian Fiola's making it to P8, and Kyle Clenworth making it to 9th. Liam O'Sullivan eats a major time penalty over the line, sending him to the back of his lap.